Wakey, wakey, so the bids are over for whoever buys Warner Bros. Discovery, and we'll find out sometime in the future, allegedly before Christmas, who is going to get it. Now, I do read the comments, people saying, yo, the SnyderVerse being restored, there is literally no chance of that. Okay, interesting. I'm not saying it's 100% gonna be restored, but even Hollywood trades are now also confirming and writing stories that it's a little bit suspicious that James Gunn is pivoting to a super family storyline. What's happened to the God of Monsters storyline, Chapter 1? Even the Hollywood trade deadline is questioning DCU's future. James Gunn questioned his own future when he did an interview with Boba Talks. He literally said he wasn't even sure because his contract runs out in 1 year time. And it's interesting that I'm seeing James Gunn's stands, DCU stands, saying, yep, this SnyderVerse is not going to be restored because Daisy Zaslav has had his contract renewed to 2030. Doesn't mean anything, lads. Doesn't mean anything. Even if the SnyderVerse doesn't get restored, James Gunn's movements are very suspicious to the point where the DCU might get changed completely. Because let's be honest, it's had one movie so far, The Lanterns TV show that was supposed to be coming out early 2026 has now been pushed to the middle of the year. Now, I thought that was coming when James Gunn couldn't even tell you. Although, yes, it is HBO Max and HBO Max does most of the marketing, he's head of the studio. So I don't actually believe James Gunn's in charge of anything because he can't green light anything. Andy Muschietti cannot talk about the Batman movie at all. Deadline's finally caught up to what our insiders have been saying for months. Gunn shifted to Superman Family Saga, matches insiders' claims. Y'all keep saying CosmicBookNews.com doesn't know what it's talking about, but they were first to hit, yo, Warner Bros. Is being sold. Yo, James Gunn's pivoting for a reason. I will cover anything, but I'm starting to think they are onto something. So, yo, what is good, YouTube? Warstu here. If you are new around here, make sure to never miss any other Marvel, DC, Kaiju, Monsterverse, pop culture-based content that I try to deliver on a daily basis. If you could, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on. Let me know down below, who do you want to buy the studio? I mean, most comments from my videos that have actually been doing well in terms of engagement, they just want the DCU, the SnyderVerse to continue, and the Matt Reeves universe. They want everything, which you should if you're a fan. So check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see the face behind the voice. Check us out TikTok, Stu, and also check us out on Twitter, WarstuG. Right, let's continue reading this article. So they also told me Gunn is out once Warner Bros. Is sold. And sure enough, after our report, Gunn publicly questioned his own future at the DC. Well, David Ellison, apparently he doesn't want to work with people that have agendas, so potentially. Stans, I really find it interesting when Stans would do everything, even though there's evidence literally in front of your face. These James Gunn Stans were saying Warner Bros. Wasn't going to be sold, but now they've had to admit it. Yeah, it's being sold. Superman sales highlights DC's value during the Warner Bros. Bidding war. In a Deadline article about Superman selling for $9 million, a sale that boosts Warner Bros. Market by making the overall DC brand look stronger, the outlet directly touches on Gunn's changing DC status. They note Zaslav has been saying Gunn has another super family script in the works, which is exactly how our insiders described the shift away from the original DCU plan. They're shifting away from the original plan one movie in. Deadline outlines current DC projects still moving forward. Deadline writes that Gunn has this new super family script and the Batman Part 2 is still moving forward. Although that's Ellsworth, it's got nothing to do with him. DC Studios is literally just a distributor, if you want to say that. Lanterns is heading to HBO Max under Gunn, and Saffron and Millie Alcock's Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow remains on the big slate. But why is Lanterns being shifted to the summer? This also stresses that regardless of who buys Warner Bros. Discovery, Netflix, Comcast, or Paramount, Superman and the broader DC lineup remain one of the company's most valuable assets. Soon to be likely, ex-Warner Bros. Discovery CEO Zaslav said Wonderboy Gunn has another super family script on the go, plus Batman 2, nothing to do with him, and Lanterns coming to HBO Max. Interesting. From Gunn and Pete Saffron led DC Studios, others as Millie Alcock fronted Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow on the big screen. Regardless of who among Netflix, NBC Universal, owners of Comcast, or David Ellison, Paramount make the next stage of putting pictures and money on the table for Woman of Tomorrow, Superman, and other DC heroes and villains are one of the hardest punching, packing part of the conglomerate. They haven't really confirmed anything. Imagine having Batman and you can't even talk about him. Industry insiders question James Gunn's future at DC. Then Deadline goes further by quoting an industry insider who openly questions Gunn's future. The insider says a strong DC brand is a winning lottery ticket for whoever buys Warner Bros. Discovery, and the potential is near limitless if handled right, whether it's still Gunn or not. It is. DC should be slaying at least like 700 to 900 million most movies. Exactly what we've been reporting. A strong DC that captivates audience's attention is a winning lottery ticket for anyone interested in buying Warner Bros. An industry insider close to Warner Bros. Discovery sale says he added there is near limitless potential, whether that's Gunn or not. SnyderVerse return very much in play. As we've been told, if Warner Bros. Discovery is sold, whether to Paramount with the Saudis back in to Comcast, Gunn is out and it opens the door for Snyder. What is interesting is an article came out debunking that, but if you actually read the article, it didn't really debunk anything. Then it came out later that yes, the Saudis could be involved with Paramount's bid. So let's continue. With Deadline's own sources questioning Gunn's future, the path for a potential SnyderVerse comeback looks more realistic than it has done in years. Deadline has just confirmed the industry is shifting in the exact direction we've been reporting all along. When a trade backs up what a website says, you kind of have to start listening, don't you? Now, I'm not saying the SnyderVerse is going to be restored, but there is an audience for it. So, Zack Snyder's Man of Steel crashes James Gunn's Superman in a massive poll that recently came out. And also, the same thing happened on a Grace Randolph poll, which excluded thousands of super Snyder fans due to years. Yeah, Grace Randolph blocked literally everyone. But still, even on her poll, Snyder's audience out-edged her. But on Critical Drinker, who is a very big creator, he put a poll out. Man of Steel or James Gunn? Superman. 90% Man of Steel, 10% Gunn. And he is not a Snyder stan, before you say that. With more than 8,000 people watching live, fans picked Man of Steel over James Gunn's movie. Out of 2,000 votes on a screenshot, a whopping 90% chose Snyder's film over Gunn's Superman. So, no one wants it. There's no audience. Stick it on Netflix, people watch it. Drinker hasn't blocked the Snyderverse community, so his poll reached a full cross-section of the fandom that direct contrast to Randolph's poll, where a huge portion of pro-Snyder accounts couldn't vote. The fact that Snyder dominated the poll makes great poll where Snyder won by only 1% basically meaningless and completely worthless. Massive reach, massive signal. Critical Drinker has over 2.3 million subscribers, and his live stream regularly draw large, engaged audiences. When a creator with that reach runs a spontaneous poll and Snyder wins by 90%, yeah, Critical Drink is bigger than pretty much everyone. You know, the so-called Soups. You know, Soups, the big TikToker. Critical Drinker is bigger than him. He's like pretty much the biggest in the whole of the pop culture space. And also he's not woke. He has no agenda. Man of Steel continues to resonate, especially as SnyderVerse interest surges across social platforms and international metric. It is also worth saying that I want James Gunn's plan to continue. I would like the SnyderVerse to continue. And you see the meme with Andrew Garfield saying, I want it all, not just Justice League 2 or 3. I want Justice League 2, 3, Man of Steel 2, Ben Affleck going up against Joe Manganiello series. I want it all. But there's no reason why we couldn't get it all, because there's this thing called the multiverse. The box office shows fan picked Snyder long before the polls. Yeah, because Man of Steel made more money than James Gunn's movie, even back in 2013. And if you adjust the metric, it'll be over $1 billion. And yeah, sure, you have to adjust the actual budget. It would have made more money. Snyder's also crushed Gunn internationally. Man of Steel performance far better overseas, especially in China, where Gunn's film stalled. The foreign audience was a major driver for Snyder's DCU success, and it continues to be a market where fans show stronger support for his take on the character. It is interesting when you look at it on that sense. James Gunn's Superman movie did very bad outside of America. Had it done good outside of America, it probably would have done 800 million plus. But for some reason, outside of America, no one cared. Also in the news, Ben Affleck showed up at the F1 Vegas looking like Batman, to the point where they posted about Batman turning up. F1 Las Vegas. When Batman shows up to Las Vegas GP, you know it's serious. Okay, this is just a bit of fun, but obviously comic book news kind of does push stuff quite further. Affleck's appearance adds fuel to Batman speculation. The timing is notable, coming right after Snyder released his own set of DCU-style images, including a new shot of Ben Affleck Batman. Now the F1 account is amplifying the moment, adding more fuel to the fire and ongoing speculation surrounding Affleck's potential return to the SnyderVerse. Fans think Affleck looks more jacked. He does, but he is a movie star. He doesn't really act that much anymore, but he might just want to be jacked for himself. With Snyder teasing Batman's images and Affleck appearing noticeably bigger at a high-profile event, the online speculation is already connecting the dots. And yes, like I said, I've got a Zack Snyder audience. I will talk about it if there's stuff to talk about. The Saudis connection. We've been told Zack SnyderVerse is back in play with the sale of Warner Bros. And Affleck potentially returning. According to our sources, Saudis have an event and want to rival Marvel, which who wouldn't? Saudis also have major ties to the F1 because they host an event every year. Some of this stuff is, I mean, it is pushing a bit, kind of trying to force an agenda. Public Investment Fund holds a big stake in McLaren. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, the film studio, Artist Equality is developing a turbulence, the greatest mind in Formula One, a definition exploration of Andre's documentary. Aston Martin posted the following image. Aston Martin, oh, that's what Bruce Wayne drives. So there's a lot of stuff out there. You can go on and on. I do find it funny that Grace Randall's poll got dominated by Snyder fans, even though she had over 17,000 votes and still Zack Snyder won. Even though Grace has blocked me, to be fair, I've never said anything bad, but Grace blocked me. But stuff still pops up because on Twitter, even if someone blocks you, you can still see their tweets. Even with half of Zack Snyder fan base blocked from Grace Randall, we're about to cross the finish line on top. Now, I'm not saying the Zack Snyderverse will 100% return, but there is a lot of its social media engagement, and people go, oh, social media engagement doesn't mean anything. Well, let's just look at the numbers for Man of Steel, for David Ayer's Suicide Squad cut, for the Aquaman movie, for Wonder Woman, for Batman vs. Superman. Very successful movies. Then when Zack left, literally in 2017, the DCU numbers literally were awful, excluding the Joker one with Joaquin Phoenix. They all flopped. An Aquaman movie, yes, it did have something to do with Zack Snyder. It's just interesting to me because Superman should never fail. But for some reason, James Gunn's Superman did fail. But it's also worth saying, if you go back, I got invited to an early screener in the UK. It's also worth saying, it's a fine movie. David Cornsweet, pretty cool actor. Rachel Brosnahan, they're very good Lois and Superman. Very good. They just need a much better script. The script that is mature. I'm not saying it's got to be dark and gritty. When I say the problem with James Gunn's Superman is it's made for children, and people are like, you want a dark and gritty version? No, I want a version that is for a mature audience. You know, 15, 18, around the 15, mature audience. That's all we're asking for. We're not asking for it to be the darkest movie ever, because let's be honest, Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman and the Justice League, they're not really dark movies at all. Just for a mature audience. That's the problem Marvel's having as well. There is this, like, no mature audience. So, is the Snyderverse gonna get restored? I've got no idea, but I'm here for it. Why is James Gunn pivoting? We have Gods of Monsters, and half the projects are being cut. Where's the Amanda Waller series? Why is Jimmy Olsen getting a random project that no one wants? Because he can't greenlight stuff. Give us Batman, give us Wonder Woman. Yes, there is a report that potentially Wonder Woman will appear in Man of Tomorrow, which is his Justice League movie, because he can't greenlight stuff. We don't want Wonder Woman. We want Batman. Give us a new Batman, lad. I would still support DC. I would still cover Supergirl. Very much looking forward to Millie Alcock's version of Supergirl. But at the same time, we could have had the Snyderverse restored on an Elseworld storyline. That's what the Elseworld's for. Batman 2, Part 2, Elseworld. Just restore it. I hope, out of all the buyers, that Netflix gets it, personally, because we've already got Netflix, and they've said they're still going to do theatrical releases. Paramount doesn't seem the best option. If Paramount buy it, then I'm pretty sure that James Gunn's out. But who knows, lads? I probably won't be doing many more Snyderverse-based videos unless something major drops, but I don't know, lads. So like always, thank you very much for all the love and support. I will still continue supporting stuff to do with DC, but at the moment, there realistically isn't any information outside of it CCXP in December or between the Avatar 3 movie. That is allegedly when we're getting our first trailer for Supergirl. Winner tomorrow. Really hyped for that. Millie Alcock is such a talented actor. She's going to slay it. But please don't just market the movie on the appearance of Superman and Crypto, because we know that is most likely going to happen. So like always, guys, check us out on Instagram at Warstu. Check us out on Twitter, WarstuG. Check us out on TikTok, WWarstu. And I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later. Okay. Bye.